All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're going to tackle one of the most misunderstood and honestly, one of the most damaging issues in all of SEO: duplicate content. It's like a silent killer for your website's rankings, and today, we're going to drag it out into the light. So, let's kick things off with a number that might just blow your mind. A recent study found that a staggering 29% of the entire internet is just duplicate content. That's almost a third of the web. Now, your first thought is probably plagiarism, right? People stealing articles. But here's the twist. While, yeah, content theft is a thing, it is not the main reason that number is so incredibly high. Nope. The real story, the one that is very likely affecting your own website as we speak, is way closer to home. It's technical, it's almost always unintentional, and it's happening completely behind the scenes. And that brings us to our first big point. Most of the duplicate content floating around out there isn't created maliciously. It's created by your own website. Think of your site as a silent factory, just quietly churning out copies of your pages over and over again, without you even having a clue. And these are the real culprits. You know, to a human, yourwebsite.com and www.yourwebsite.com are the exact same thing. But to Google, those are two different pages with the exact same content. Same thing goes for HTTP versus HTTPS. Then you start adding in things like tracking codes for your ad campaigns or maybe printer-friendly versions of blog posts, and all of a sudden you've got 3, 4, even 5 versions of a single page, all fighting each other. And let me tell you, nowhere is this problem worse than on e-commerce sites. Just imagine you sell a t-shirt. It comes in 5 sizes and 3 colors. A customer filters for a blue, medium shirt. Well, that simple little action can generate a brand new, unique URL that has almost identical content to the main product page. Now multiply that by hundreds of products and dozens of ways to sort and filter, you can see how this spirals out of control. Fast. Okay, so this is where everyone gets tripped up. The most common question I hear is, so will Google penalize me for this? This is the core of all the confusion, and it's why so many people just ignore the problem. They're waiting for some big penalty that, well, it never actually comes. And you know what? They're kinda right. Google has said it very clearly right from the horse's mouth. There is no formal manual penalty for having duplicate content. You're not gonna get that scary message in Google's Search Console, and this is the exact moment where people breathe this huge sigh of relief and just assume they're in the clear. But that brings us to the most important question of all. If Google isn't going to slap you on the wrist with a penalty, why in the world should you care? Why are we even talking about this? Well, it's because the damage is very, very real. It's just not happening the way you think it is. And this slide right here perfectly illustrates that disconnect. The myth is that no penalty equals no problem. But the reality is that the absence of a direct penalty just means the damage is hidden. It's not a loud, obvious punishment. It's more like a slow, quiet leak that's draining your site's performance. So here's what's actually happening. Think of it like this. Google gives its little search bots a crawl budget for your site, basically a daily allowance of how much time it's going to spend looking at your pages. Now, if it spends that whole budget crawling 10 identical versions of the same product page, it might just run out of time before it ever gets to that brilliant new blog post you just wrote. Even worse, if you earn valuable backlinks, they get split across all those different URLs, which just dilutes the ranking power. You end up with 10 weak pages instead of one strong one, and you completely lose control, letting Google take a wild guess at which page you actually want to rank. Okay, enough of the scary stuff. The good news is this is totally 100% fixable. You can, and you absolutely should, take back control and tell the search engines exactly how you want them to see your website. So here's your 4-step game plan. First, for those simple things like HTTP versus HTTPS, you use a 301 redirect. It's just a permanent forwarding address that tells Google, hey, see all the good stuff from these old pages? Send it all over to this one master version. Now, for those tricky filter pages on e-commerce sites, the Canonical tag is your new best friend. It's just a little snippet of code that basically points a finger and says, hey, Google, I know there are a few versions of this page floating around, but this one right here, this is the real deal. This is the one you should care about. And of course, writing unique product descriptions instead of just copying what the manufacturer sent you, that's an absolute game changer. And the best part is, you don't have to go into this blind. You've got a whole detective kit you can use. Google Search Console, which is totally free by the way, will flat out tell you when it's finding duplicate pages. Then you've got tools like Screaming Frog or Ahrefs that'll crawl your entire site and sniff out internal copies like a bloodhound. And if you're worried about someone else stealing your content, Copyscape is the gold standard for finding that. So let's zoom out and bring this all home. Why does getting a handle on all this technical stuff really matter? Well, it's about so much more than just tidying up your website. It's about strategy. Because look, when you don't manage your duplicate content, you are essentially leaving your search rankings up to chance. You're just crossing your fingers and hoping an algorithm makes the right guess about your most important pages. Taking control of this is about being intentional. It's about giving Google a crystal clear map of your site and leaving absolutely nothing up for debate. When it comes right down to it, the goal is just one word: efficiency. In today's competitive world, you just can't afford to have parts of your own website working against each other. Every single page needs to have a clear, unique job. It should be a soldier in your army, fighting to help you rank, not fighting with the soldier standing right next to it. So I'm going to leave you with this one question to really think about. After everything we've talked about, take a good, hard look at your own site. Is it a lean, mean, efficient machine where every single page is helping you succeed? Or is it unknowingly fighting a civil war with its own pages battling each other for the top spot? The answer to that question could be the key to unlocking the rankings you've been working so hard for.